Hey, this video is to talk about the update to the Code Analyzer for Copado. So now Code Analyzer for Copado supports the V5 of Salesforce Code Analyzer, which brings along with it new engines like Flow Scanner, regex, update to existing engines, as well as overall update to the whole architecture, the commands, the output. Everything has been changed from ground up, and it's a complete rehaul. And now Code Analyzer for Copado supports that version. So how does it look like? Let's take a look at the demo. So when you are configuring this on a Copado pipeline, there are different options on how you can configure it. You can configure the Code Analyzer to run after commit, after promotion, or before deployment. All of these options, as soon as you click on one, it's going to tell you that what's going to happen if it fails. So if you're running Code Analyzer after commit, and if it fails, then any promotions or deployments that you'll be doing with this user story, they're going to be blocked. Similarly, if you're doing an after promotion one, you can see that if that fails, the failure will be reported, but the deployment will not be stopped. And then lastly, you can see that the before deployment one, if it fails, deployment will be blocked. All of these three different trigger points tell you that what code it is going to run on. So you can see the before deployment one is running on the promotion branch, which is the release branch in Copado. If I go to the after commit one, you can see that that one is running on the feature branch. Why is this important? Because this particular listing of Code Analyzer for Copado always runs on your changed components. So whatever you have changed within a particular user story, or if it's a collection of user stories in a release, then it's only going to show you the violations on those changed components that it gets. Once you have chosen the trigger point, then you can choose which environments you want this quality gate to be applied. Once you choose that, there are other advanced filtering criterias that basically allow you to specify on which metadata, if certain metadata type is committed, only then this quality gate should be triggered, and thus saving you time when you are running your builds, right? And this allows this particular quality gate to run on demand only when it's required. So here you can see I have put in a criteria that if the metadata type is Apex, Flow, Lightning Web Components, or Lightning Messaging Channel, basically one of these has been committed or is part of a deployment, only then this quality gate should be triggered. So just writing Apex here covers a lot of different metadata types like Apex classes, triggers, Apex page, Apex components. So yeah, that's basically how you can have this sort of advanced filtering criteria as well, helping you to only run the quality gate in certain scenarios. Like I said, saving you cycles on your runtime. Let's take a look at an example where I'm on a user story. So I'm on a Copado user story where I had some work to do. You can see that I have committed a bunch of components. I've committed the worst code possible in the humankind, which has a lot of errors, and Code Analyzer is going to flag all of them. So you can see I've committed a bunch of Apex classes. I've committed Apex components, flows, Lightning Web components. So let's see what happened when when this was committed. So straight out of the bat, you can see that I am getting an error message over here that my committed changes was saved in the repository, but a quality gate failed. And I can check the latest commit record to see what are those errors. So we'll get to that in just a moment. But just to highlight, if you remember, the after commit one says that if it has failed, then it won't be allowed to deploy. So let's try deploying this user story without taking a look at anything else. So I'm going to just go ahead and click on promote and deploy. And within a few seconds, you're going to see that it throws an error. There you go. So it says that this user story contains some tests that have not completed successfully, and I need to review the results for them before proceeding. I can switch to the test tab as well and see that my code analyzer had failed. So I can review the test results from here too. But let's for simplicity's sake, let's just click on this link over here and see what happened when I had done my commit. So I've already got this open in a new tab over here. And you can see on the right hand side, I have a section for quality checks. So this has, as you can see, my commit happened, and after the commit, my quality gates ran. One of them was this code analyzer. Now what this after commit one does is that it gives you fast feedback. It allows you to shift left into your quality and security checking journey, that as soon as our developers are committing their changes, checking in their changes, they get fast feedback of, hey, looks like you've got some major issues that you need to fix before you can deploy this user story. So what does that look like for a developer? So let's go ahead and click on the error details over here and we'll see what comes up. So when I click on this, you can immediately see the first thing that is highlighted is that there are 68 violations that meet or exceed the severity threshold of high. So with Code Analyzer for Copado, you can set what is the threshold at which you want to fail the quality gate, fail the scan. For this run, it looks like it was set to fail if the violations were of severity high or critical. And if I zoom out a little bit, you can see that there are 63 plus 5, total 68 violations that are exceeding the threshold, meeting or exceeding the threshold of high. You can also see the total number of violations that are there for this particular user story. Again, this is a differential scan result. So it's only showing you the results on the components that you have committed on this particular user story. You can also see how those violations are divided in different severities, and actually these severities act as filters as well. So you can just narrow down to see the violations of a particular severity if you just click on that severity bubble over here. I have done groupings on 2 different levels. So you can see that I have the first grouping that I have is on the engine and the rule types. So there are several engines that are part of Code Analyzer version 5, and you can see a lot of them are in action over here. So like the regex is an engine, ESLint I'm sure most of you are familiar with. There's a new engine for scanning flows that is part of Code Analyzer v5. Then PMD's copy paste detector, which helps you understand code duplicacy, PMD, and then lastly the Salesforce graph engine for data flow analysis is here as well. Also, this PMD is not just the regular Apex PMD. This includes the PMD app exchange rule set as part of it, which Salesforce themselves use for whenever they are doing a security analysis for an app exchange listing. So these different type of groupings, so we're just looking at the first one right now, and there's the other one as well, which is the type and file name. So let's take a look at them with a little bit more real estate. So for that, what you can do is that you can actually open up the result record itself. So you can see that I have opened the result record over here. And let's take a look at the first grouping first. So by engine and rules. So let's expand something. So for instance, I've expanded PMD, expanding the next one, let's say the Apex sharing rule. So you can see that it gives me the file name on which this particular rule has been triggered by the PMD engine. The particular lines, you can wrap the text, read the whole error. You have a link directly to the documentation on seeing that how to fix this, how does a compliant code looks like for this particular to get past this particular rule, and how to fix it, right? So this is essentially how you are able to take a look at the engine and rule based rule-based grouping that I have. The next grouping I have, which also makes it very easier. It's seeing the same result in a different format, just in case that's something that you want to visualize the results from. So this is the grouping from metadata type and then the file name. So here you can see that now there are 86 classes that have issues, 86 rules have gone against the classes, then LWCs have a lot of them as well, flows and messaging channels. So for instance, if I just expand classes, maybe expand or enabled FLS, you can see that you can see similar result but in a different manner. So or enabled FLS class has 20 violations that you can see are of different severity as well as from different engines too, right? And different rules that have come up over here. So again, if you wanted to filter this down a little bit more, you can always just click on these buttons. So for instance, let's do high, or let's just take a look at the critical issues. So I click on critical, you can see that critical issues are just in the result table lightning web component. And if I do a little broad one, let's say the moderate one, then we can see that it is in different classes too. And if I further wanted to narrow down, I can write in the search box as well, which can further narrow down the results, and we'll just see a combination of the filters from the search box as well as what we have selected. So let's wrap up this demo by seeing the two other combinations of the setup. So now I'm going to switch to a promotion, which is essentially a deployment in Copado. You can see that on this promotion, I am trying to deploy 3 different user stories, user story 63, 64, 65. And then there are different components, of course, as part of these different stories. 63 is deploying some Apex classes, 64 is working on a Lightning Web component, and 65 is a controller, again Apex, but just different Apex, right? So now, on this particular example, I have set Code Analyzer to be run before deployment. And if you remember, before deployment blocks the deployment. So here you can see that since my Code Analyzer failed, the deploy function did not even start. And again, you can do the same thing. You can click on the error details. You can see that this time maybe for this particular run, I had changed the severity to just see all. Right, so I marked it info, so yeah, you can see the total number is coming up over here, and you can see just the files that were part of this promotion, which were a bunch of Apex classes and the Lightning Web component. The Code Analyzer has only run on them. So this combination particularly allows you to review the collective quality and security scanning of your of a particular release and make a decision to stop the deployment if certain criteria of quality and security is not met according to your organization standards. And again, all of that is configurable within this Code Analyzer listing. Lastly, I have the other criteria, which is running it after promotion. So if you remember, after promotion is just reporting. After promotion is just reporting. If it fails, the failure will be reported. So you can see that this Code Analyzer ran over here after the promotion. But even if when it failed, the deployment did not stop. The deployment continued. So this is more of a reporting for reporting purposes. And again, yeah, you can review the logs, open up the result record, do all of that stuff with this. The last thing that I wanted to touch up on from a configuration perspective is that Code Analyzer for Copado now also has support for the configuration file. So you can just have a configuration file called as codeanalyzer.yaml in the root of your project, and this allows you to do a lot of cool stuff. You can disable particular engines. For instance, if you wanted to disable PMD, ESLint, regex, you can just write disable engine false or true for there. You can add custom rules. So for example, I've added a custom regex rule. I have created it over here, and you can see I've provided its severity, tags, description, what file extensions this should be run on, and of course the regex that needs to be run. You can also change severity of certain pre-existing rules. So I'll show you an example where you can see I have a pre-existing rule in ESLint. It's called sort imports, and I've changed its severity to critical. It might have been something else, but yeah, right now I'm specifying that I'm overriding its severity in tags over here. So yeah, this is also supported when you use this sort of configuration YAML file within the root of a repository, and Code Analyzer for Copado is going to make sure that it honors this file and the configuration that you have set over here. So that's about it for the demo. Now, how does someone get started on installing this and getting access? Well, if you are a Copado customer, then all you have to do is come up to Copado's DevOps Exchange, which is success.copado.com, and then clicking on DevOps Exchange. And then you can see there are a lot of solutions available. The Code Analyzer, since I updated it today, it's number one. But if you are looking at it a little bit later, then you can just search for Code Analyzer over here, and the Code Analyzer listing will come up. You can open it, click on Get It Now, and immediately you can click on Install in Production or Sandbox, enter your credentials, and that's about it. That's how you'll get it within your org. All Copado customers have access to it, and once you have installed it in the org, then there is a customization guide that I've linked over here that you can follow to go through the steps on what are the prerequisite installation and configuration steps. Everything related to the severities, the configuration file, all of that is listed over here in the readme file and explained. So hope this was helpful. And yeah, if you have any questions, then on every listing there is a discussion group as well, where you can post anything that you have or any questions you have around the listing. For instance, someone had specifically requested that when can they get V5, and yeah, all of this interest that people were talking about actually forced me to go ahead and update it. And today, like you can see, this update is here. So yes, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to come up over here and post in the discussion group. Hope this was helpful. Looking forward to seeing you write quality and secure code with Code Analyzer for Copado. Thank you.